It's day 189, picking up where I left off yesterday on the journey. And pretty much where I left off. I'm going through Rachel's dialogue a little bit here. This is February 3rd, so I'm just under 6 weeks into the future while I'm doing this voiceover. So I think as I thought about this after I got away from the script and then kind of reread it, I'm trying to figure out how much Rachel could make up that Lexi could pick apart versus how much she could make up that Lexi would have really no way of questioning unless she talked to Holly, which obviously she can't right this second because she is not tied up, but she's basically unable to. She doesn't have a phone, although we have not seen that, and that's another discussion for another day of the journey. But I think I definitely want to make this, because that's 10 lines right there, and I would like to have it fewer. Maybe I'll just break it up. I don't know exactly. This, of course, one thing that I'm mindful of is regardless of if Lexi ends up believing Rachel, would Lexi for an instant agree to go willingly to go with her father? Because obviously the best result, the best outcome for, I think, for Rachel in her twisted way and for her ex is that she talks Lexi into going willingly with him as opposed to literally, dragging her on the plane and making her a prisoner. But realistically, could she do that in a couple scenes of dialogue or not? I would tend to say not, but my goal is that by the time we meet Nick Salerno, maybe, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking we don't think he's a complete degenerate. And I'm even in the back of my mind, I've been wondering this, and I don't think I've voiced this yet, but would, in fact, what if the truth came out that Rachel lied on the witness stand and put him away for, let's say, these racketeering charges because his family's in the mafia. And again, I don't want to get into this whole, I've been trying to decomplicate this, but this would complicate it even more, is that maybe he is the son who isn't totally bought into the mob thing. Maybe he's even trying to get out. And when his father, Rachel's father-in-law, found this out, well, that wouldn't really make any sense. I was going to say that he worked out a deal with her to get him convicted of something that maybe he had a part in or he knew about, but he wasn't really involved in. But what would be, well, I guess they're down the road, but that gets so far away from the story that my thought is, what if he was more or less innocent and turns out to be a good guy who got put away for 12 years when he really maybe wasn't guilty at all or was just tangentially guilty, maybe kind of an unwilling dupe or something. And this would make Rachel an even worse person. But then the question is, would he still have the family money to pay Rachel whatever amount I'm going to settle on? I had thought of $1 million earlier, than I thought of 10 million. And so that would be another question, is if he doesn't have the money, because originally, of course, it was a grandfather that came, but I thought it might be a little more sense of immediacy if the father came instead. But I'm not completely sold on that, because obviously the grandfather had kind of those henchmen, for lack of a better term, that he brought along. But I just see this guy coming by himself, and maybe I got to revisit or think about his expectation that it's just to see her, it's not to take her. Has he paid Rachel to do this? Is Rachel trying to make up for something? I don't think so. I think she just wants money because she considers what has happened not her fault at all and thinks that everybody owes her. So that's kind of her mindset. And that is hopefully gradually going to come out in this scene. However, the scene's not over, but the day is. See you tomorrow.